Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that a black man was born 20 miles outside of the holy city of Mecca. And when he was a young boy, about 6 years old, he was playing in the sand with two pieces of metal. And he saw one piece of metal drawing the other piece of metal under its power. And there he discovered the law of unlike attract and like repel. And he discovers that in the germ of the black man, there's the brown germ and a black germ. He discovers the positive and the negative. He discovers this thing operating in our being. And what he said was, if I can separate this brown germ from the black germ and graft it into its final stage, I could produce a people unalike. And because they would be unalike, they could be attractive. And if I teach them how to master their own original people, then I will make a master. Now, brother and sister, Yaqub, when he became 18, he went to work. And he started teaching and getting followers there in Mecca. And as he began to teach, people began to listen to him. The authorities got really vexed. And the more they persecuted Yaqub, the more his followers grew, until they put him in jail. And when they put him in jail, the teaching was still going on in the streets. So finally the wise one said, we've read about him in the history. He was in jail under an alias. When they went to the jail, the king called him Mr. Yaqub, and in words said, look, we know that you are the one that has to do this work. What do you want? He said, you give me my people and allow me to leave and take my people with me. So then an agreement was made, and he took his followers. There were 59,999 of them with Yaqub, making 60,000. And they were banished to an island in the Aegean Sea called Pilan. But in the Bible, it is called Patmos. And there on the island of Patmos, Yaqub began to make a devil. But right away, you got to get married at 16. You got to start producing babies. Yaqub wanted babies. If a real black child was born, the object was to kill the black and save the lighter child, then marry the lighter on to a lighter, and keep on grafting until you produce a brown civilization of people. Birth control. Kill the black, save the brown. Marry the brown on to a lighter brown, kill the darker, save the lighter. Marry the lighter on to the lighter, kill the darker, save the lighter, until you bring it to its apex, which is this that you see, this Caucasian. Caucasian mean weak-blooded, weak-boned, stale-faced. That pale, what the Indian call a pale man. No? Brother, I am not playing. This is serious. The white man is not the real man. That's right. He's a made human being from you. When they want to go in the laboratory to develop medicine for their disease, they don't practice on gray mice. What do they practice on? Come on. What color mice? White mice. Is the white mouse a natural mouse? Uh-oh, where did the white mouse come from? From the gray mouse. So Whitey uses something that already is a hybrid to demonstrate what happens on this. Maybe if it can affect that white mouse, it can also affect me. Do you hear me? Now he's here. On the way, it took 600 years to take him from black all the way to white. First, there was a brown civilization. And you got them out there now, they're called Japanese. They come right up out of that grafting. The next civilization, next 200 years, you had a yellow man. And those yellow and brown, they don't get along. China and Japan may look the same to you, but they know they're different, and they clash with each other. And out of the Chinese came the Caucasian, or the yellow man came the Caucasian. These are new people. You can't take the brown man or Japanese back beyond 6,000 years. You can't take the white man beyond 6,000 years. You can't take the yellow man beyond 6,000. All their history is 6,000 years old. It's the original people that have no birth record. None whatsoever. Now, look, making people of color, that's not sin. That's wisdom. Like making different color flowers or different color or kinds of fruit or different kinds of animal life. That's a test of your wisdom. Making different kinds of human beings is a test of the wisdom of God. God said, let it be, bring them forward. Yaqub then had to teach them a teaching that would oppose the teachings of God. They already are opposite us in color and opposite us in nature. Why do you say that? If murder was going on the island of Patmos to produce them, and lying was going on to fool the baby away from the mother, kill the darker, save the lighter, then Jesus says in the New Testament, I know you, talking to the Jews, you are of your father the devil. He was a liar and a murderer. And if you look at that white man, he's a lying thing and a murderous human being. There is no human being on earth that has murdered more living things than the Caucasian. He's a murderer and a liar. Take it or leave it, brother. I'm not saying that we don't lie, but the white man lies almost for no reason at all. Come on. A liar and a murderer. Now he was taught by Yaqub how to master us with a system of tricks and lies. And that boy is the same today as he was. He's full of tricks. Come on. Got you doing it. He's a tricky dude. He can't help himself. A liar, a murderer, a deceiver. Now, when he was made, he was allowed to come back among the holy people. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us that in 6 months he turned the Holy Land upside down. And we rounded up all of them that we could find and drove them out into the hills and caves of Europe. This is where you get in your Masonic order the cable toe. We took everything from the white man but the language. Strip them naked, so when you join the lodge, you get a little apron. And they tie you together, and we beat him every step of the way. So when you join the lodge, they call it crossing the burning sands, and they whoop your backside like our fathers whipped them, driving them out. That's written in the Bible and in the Quran. Get out of it, despised and driven away. Caucasians. And brother, they've been angry with us ever since. They went into Europe and went savage. That's right. EU means hillsides and caves, and ROPE is the rope to bind in. We sent him up there and bound him in so he couldn't get out of Europe. And the man went savage, tried to graft himself back and got as far as the ape. Right. Not that he came from the ape came from him. That's his brother. And you hear him say, well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. He know what he's talking about. Oh, brother. He lived in the caves of Europe for 2,000 years, walking on his all fours. Let me tell you something. You notice how the white man take off his shirt? You see all this hair look like a blanket covering him? Come on now. Some of you sisters, you like to look at that naked beast. See him out there parading on the beach. Chest, you don't find chest, just hair. All down his arms, everywhere. You say, well, how come I don't have that? You look at your chest, you can hardly find a hair. You look at the white man, he's head down. Where did this come from? Came from his days in the cave. Have you ever put on a cast on your arm and let it stay there for 3 months? When you take it off, what do you see under there? Come on. What do you see? A lot of it, right? Not on the arm that didn't have the cast, but on the arm that got the cast. Why? Because wherever it is dark and damp, where you get no sunlight, you will grow an inordinate amount of hair. Here's a white man living in the cave. It's there in the 18th chapter of the Quran, called the cave. And at the mouth of the cave is a dog. Say if there are 2 of them, the 3rd was the dog. If there was 3 of them, the 4th was the dog. If there was 5 of them, 6 was the dog. And when you see the white man today, who is the white man's best friend? It ain't you, it ain't God, it's a dog, brother. Oh yeah. Him and the dog have a love affair. He cohabits with the dog. Moses had to tell him, look, if we catch you sleeping with an animal, death. Because white folks so crazy. They lie down with the dog, lie down with the sheep, lie down with the cow, lie down with the chicken. This crazy white man is something. I don't know how in the heck we could ever let something like that rule us. I mean, brother, he got down on his all fours. Yeah, grew a little tail. Yeah, some of them right today are born with a little 6-inch tail coming right off the spine. They cut it off quick. White folks even say it's healthy to get out on your all fours and crawl around. They like that. 2,000 years, this cracker is up in the cave, crawling around, him and the dogs together. That man didn't know how to cook food, didn't know how to bury his dead. Go look at that movie, Quest for Fire. That ain't you in the cave. This man didn't have no language. He's up there in the cave, grunting. And here you go. I bet they make a dog out of you sooner or later. That man is something. But he was given power to rule. 2,000 years of his time he spent in the caves until Moses was sent to him to raise him up from that condition. Moses had a hard time teaching that savage. Moses had to sleep in a ring of fire to keep that savage from destroying him. Moses put a board in their back and stood them up. If you look at white people, they used to be very thick in here. No definition, just straight with a flat glutamus maximus. You know how flat they are back here? Pardon me, I'm not being vulgar. You ought to check the animal, check that monkey out, check that chimpanzee out. Shave that hair and see what you see up underneath that hair. That's white. I know you in love with them. That's because you don't have no sense. But look here. Moses had to straighten them crackers up, put a board in their back. Moses invented the girdle. Had to put them things in a girdle, so I'm give them some form. You would never have fallen in love with that white woman if had you seen her the way Moses saw her. Big old nasty thing. Black man all down by the Nile, living in luxury and silks. White folk up in the cave grunting. That's right. Moses went up there in those caves, taught those crackers, and in 22 years, he had them up. Coming on out of the cave, he taught them some of the technology. Brother, tomorrow when you see white folks, don't tell them who they are. Look at them. Study them like they've been studying you. Get up close to them. Get up close and smell them. Smells strange. Look at them carefully. And what you're going to find, if you study them, you'll see that they think they're better than you. They act superior to you. They want to rule you. And if you look like you want to assert yourself, they'll try to come against you to crush you down. Yes, they will. Because they are born to rule. They cannot accept a subservient position under black people. Even when you got them under you on a job. They can't stand it. Who is this nigger over me? And you know how you are when you're ordering white folk. Don't you feel good? Now put it over there. And he'll do it to hold the job, but he's gritting his teeth all the time. And they'll lay for you to get you fired because they don't want a black foreman. Their nature can't take a black person being over them. This is what I told them at Cornell the other day. I said, look, y'all are sick. You cannot accept dark rule. So God is ending your world. And the only way, white folks, you can come out of this, because you cannot be reformed. You cannot reform a devil. All the prophets tried and failed. You have to kill the devil. What are you saying, Farrakhan? Why does Muhammad and any Muslim murder the devil? Because he's 100% wicked and will not keep and obey the laws of Islam. He's a snake of the grafted type. Huh? And if he's allowed to live, he'll sting someone else. It is not the color of the white man that's the problem. It's the mind of the white man that's the problem. The color can live on forever if God wanted to be so, but the mind of white supremacy has to be destroyed. And let me tell you something, that mind is present in the Arab world right now, in Mecca. It's in the Christian world right now, in Rome. It's in China. It's in Japan. It's everywhere. Nobody loves the black man. They all want to crush the black man. And this is why today I must lift up my voice all over the world, not to hide what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, but to make the world know it and understand it, because that's the only way you're going to bust up the mind of racism. You got to tell them where their root is and where their mind came from. Yaqub was only given 6 days to do his work. 6,000 years, and after that, the white man's world is finished. Not that the white man can't survive and make it into the hereafter. He can. But he's got to die.
Oh my, so bad.